we were talking about
the actors.
The actors, yes, and directing the actors and how that went in terms of how you talked to them, you know, and how much you directed them in the rehearsals. Like, did you just want to really see what they were bringing to it for a while and let them kind of develop it on their own, or did you step in and say like, yes, this, but more, you know?
Yeah, mainly it was a process where I told them they had to be off book for rehearsal.
Good. Okay.
And so they were like, okay, and it took them a little minute to do that. So once they were off book for rehearsal, then we just did the scenes over and over and over again, so that they were able to find different colors in what was happening. I mean, I really believe in like giving actors time. And I think everyone works differently, but as a director, I just feel like if you give them the space to do it a bunch of times, they're gonna find it beautifully, and they're gonna be able to add things, but not necessarily change the structure of the scene. Okay. Because the scenes were written very specifically, and I gave them all bios, like of their characters. I told them what their relationships were before and why they felt a certain way and what a specific line might mean because of their past or their history with other people, with the other people in the scene. And I was able to, you know, find, like, it was such a pleasure because just watching them do it, they were finding things that I really liked. So basically I was just really enthusiastic and would encourage them when I felt like it was really what the movie was. Yeah. Not that what they were doing, well, not that the other stuff they were doing was not the movie, but it was just like getting in a dialogue with them about like what their character really had to offer. Yeah. You know, and the purpose of it. So it was just really a fun experience, and I like to rule like that. I don't really like to be critical or negative of actors because I don't think it's helpful. I just don't think that it works. I think if you can like just like continue to encourage what it is you see that they're doing that's really them and unique that no one else could ever do. Yeah. That's what that's what the character is. Yeah. And then that it becomes what the film is. It's like a combination of everybody doing their best. That's really how I like to work. I mean, I couldn't ever do it any other way. I don't think I could do anything that's improvised. Yeah. I just couldn't. It's not, like, my brain doesn't work that way. Yeah. And
did you, because you had to rehearse scenes that were just you and Jason, a bunch of them were just you and Jason. When you rehearsed those, were you two alone to rehearse them? Or were there other people?
We had Amberly Coulson come in, who's a friend of mine, and she assisted us by being on book. Okay. So basically she would watch what we were doing, but she was reading, she was looking at the lines to make sure we were correct, and if we were wrong she would correct us. And she was also there for the dudes as well, so when I was directing those guys, Amberly was there and she would be able to tell them if they missed a line or whatever after. But the work with Jason was really fun because we were in our apartment, so we had to really, having Amberly there was really great because she would come and we were able to find the scenes, and they're none of them really easy scenes. Yeah. Some of them, well, one of them maybe is. There's like one conversational scene that they have. Yeah. But we were able to kind of go into the work even though we were in our apartment. Okay. And I think Amberly kind of facilitated that because, there were times where like we were supposed to start at 10 o'clock in the morning and we were both really, really tired, and Amberly would show up like bright and perky and we'd be like, we're ready, like we can do it. We're here. Yeah. It's helpful.
Did you record any rehearsals so that you could watch them?
No, I didn't. I knew that if I knew that as I was going along, if I felt like I needed to do that, I could do that. But it felt to me like finding the character's journey through the script in rehearsal without a camera was enough. And then it gave me this kind of barometer for the moments. So that I wasn't like thinking about it while I was doing it. I was just acting. Yeah. But afterwards I would be able to, in rehearsal, be like, oh, did that work, did that not work, in my mind, and think about like what it is the character was going through, and that kind of muscle that I figured out in rehearsal was a sort of it was like another sense I didn't realize that I had.
Uh-huh.
That became like the barometer that I used while we were shooting.
While you were shooting.
Yeah, so when we were done with a scene, I could put my director's hat back on immediately and be like, oh, we got it, or actually let's do it again.
So did you end up watching much playback when you were filming?
Initially that was the plan. I think we were, I was excited to watch playback as a concept. Like after every scene I'm going to watch playback, that was the idea.
Yeah.
But then we got to the day, and we would... I think the first day I was watching playback and I was like, yeah, this is great, this is beautiful, this is great. Like Andre had already showed me the shot before, so I knew what the shot was, which I would always approve of. I was like, this is great. And then it was really easy to just be like, oh man, this is taking up too much time. Because I knew within myself whether or not it was working with me and with the other actors. So it became kind of unnecessary to watch playback, and also it was something that was obviously time consuming, so I just ended up being like, yeah, let's move on, we got it, because it was fun to keep moving. Yeah. You have there's so many emotional scenes, so many highly emotional scenes in it. How did you feel like you were preparing while they're directing? Did you need to take time away to prepare, or did directing become this sort of like meditation for the part? And do you feel like you would I'll start with that and then I'll continue with my questions after that. That's a really great question. That's so amazing. I think what happened was I took it to this place with rehearsal where I knew I had a varied number of ways of playing each scene. So there was, say, like A, B, C, and D, or like red, white, blue, green, different colours. So I knew that I had that. So that by the time I got to the day, it became about just sort of just doing those different things, And if one of those things happens to be like a really emotional thing, then obviously I couldn't be talking to Andre or talking to, the costume designer or talking to the makeup artist when I was supposed to be about to do an emotional scene. It would take me like a little minute. But it was kind of like not a long period of time. I would just take a moment, like literally, and then I would do it.
And did people instinctively know to give you space, or was that something that people had to be told about? Like,
it's so funny on a set because everybody has their own idea. Everyone's doing their own job, so they're all kind of, and a lot of the people are asking questions of you as the director. So that wasn't necessarily something that was like, oh, Marianna's getting ready now, like let's not talk to her. It was more kind of like people would just ask me questions, and I would just answer them. I remember that the only time that I really had a quiet moment was in the makeup chair, because that was like when I was sitting down, and like no one could really do that much with me because I was sitting down. So I remember like meditative moments, just sitting there getting my makeup done, and literally like those were those moments, and then the moment like before I fell asleep at night were like calm, and then everything else was, everything was calm, but it wasn't like quiet. So I think that the rehearsal really behooved the fact that like on a set you're asked so many questions as the director, like in a given day they ask you like however many questions it is, and it'll be stupid stuff like, oh, we have to have this book, do you want this one, this green one, or do you want this blue one? And you have to be like, the blue one. Thank you. And I literally answer the question. And just there's so many details. So I think that it was really like it's an interesting thing to do, to have to be really emotional in a certain scene and then like joke around with people after. But I feel like as actors we do that all the time, it's like you do a play and you have to be so there and be in the moment with everybody, and then afterwards you like smoke a cigarette and you joke around. So it's that kind of balance. And in a way, like, thank God people were not like, oh, Marianna's getting ready, like, nobody talked to her.
Your set was really cool. I got to visit the set a couple times, and it was amazingly focused and calm.
Everyone was really chill.
It was really just like everyone's like doing the work, like, and it was really cool to see it it looked very like almost meditative. Like the whole cast was just like, we have to do this.
We're gonna do
As
this
the crew,
night.
everyone was
Yeah.
yeah.
That was the plan.
Yeah.
You know.
And it worked out.